could be something else kind of coming to Seattle because Adam Silver kind of made some hints and some stuff this week. Um, what did you hear about Adam Silver this week, Connor?
So, Rutledge, Adam Silver made a very interesting comment this past week, and that is that they are dusting off some chats about expansion. In the NBA season, right, Adam Silver did an interview on ESPN, talked about really, being very upfront and open about some of the financial implications of certain things. And he said, one of the things, it's not on the front burner, but we are sort of dusting off some of our conversations that we've had in the past about dear old expansion, which the NBA hasn't expanded in quite a long time. So there's some really interesting conversations to be had there for sure. When I watched on SportsCenter this morning, there is obviously a large West Coast presence there in the ESPN studios. So there was a few folks that were interested in seeing if Seattle could, maybe be a part of that one day. So, Rutledge, what say you? What's your thoughts about potential expansion?
Oh man, I think it's really cool that they could expand some NBA teams. Of course, the last team was taking the Sonics out of Seattle and moving them to OKC, which that franchise I'm actually really happy that they took into that so much. But I would love to see my Vancouver Grizzlies come back. Out of the two Canadian teams, the Grizzlies and the Raptors, the Grizzlies didn't do as well in the 90s, but love to see that happen. Of course, we would all love to see the Sonics return, which could be so cool to have this the Seattle Supersonics to some come back, because then you'd have all four major sports teams in, five counting soccer, in the city of Seattle. And Seattle's a very loyal sports town, so I'm big on those. Connor, what about you? Where do you want to see an expansion team happen from the NBA?
Well, I think that Seattle would be a really great place to potentially come back, right? I don't know if you'd want to have it be the Supersonics again, maybe the Seattle Dark Roasts to celebrate some big time industry in the area.
This is another Rutledge saying, out of Dark Roast, one of the greatest coffees to come out of Seattle is Starbucks coffee. This is Rutledge for sponsor me for Starbucks. That'd be great. Thank you so much.
Yes. So, Vancouver. Vancouver could be good. Just that big Pacific Northwest vibe could be a lot of fun. A few other places that I think could be very interesting, at least conversations to have, would be one place like Las Vegas. You already have Summer League there. There's already a ton of sports anyways moving there. You've got a lot of big-time celebrities and star status folks that are going to be there anyways. So it'd be a really fun ticket just to go there, to be in the stands and watch. I think that could be a really interesting, fun place. Another place near and dear to my heart would be Kansas City. A few thoughts. The closest team geographically to Kansas City is Oklahoma City, the Thunder, and the closest team culturally to Kansas City is probably Indianapolis, and that's not very close in either regard. Take that, a huge basketball city, 45 minutes away from Lawrence, where the Jayhawks play. So, Las Vegas and Kansas City could be very potentially good places to play further seasons. Not this season, though. This season does start tonight, so that is something we're really excited about.
That is something really excited about for sure. For all of our Twitch live viewers out there, I just paused the game because right now we're playing Seahawks-Rams, and I really didn't agree with it. That was a fourth down. I'm pretty sure Russ got the pylon there, and I couldn't challenge that play. So thanks, Madden. You really helped out your boy. But here's Rutledge kicking a field goal. Hold your breath as we kick the start of the score for this evening. It is now 3-0 Seattle against Los Angeles, live on Twitch, 8 p.m. Friends Stream Sports. You can see this on YouTube starting tomorrow. But starting tonight, Connor, NBA season. So I have some odds for the title this week. These are preseason odds for the title. And the number one favorite going into the title is the Los Angeles Lakers. We spent time looking at their roster, and they still have a lot of pieces from last season, but they have an 11-4 shot which if you calculate that out statistically is pretty good odds. The next two favorites are the Milwaukee Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets with a 5-1 chance, and then the third is the Los Angeles Clippers with a 6-1 chance. There are other teams to be included that have closer odds, and there's a large group of them, but the big ones that stand out name-wise are Heat, Mavericks, and the Sixers. So, Connor, given all those teams, who, after watching last season in the bubble, who are you kind of staring at as your preseason NBA favorite?
I think just as before the NBA or the NFL season, I said I cannot pick against Tom Brady until he gives me the reason to pick against him. First drop of the night, one of many future drops of the rest of the evening. But I think in a lot of ways you can't pick against LeBron until he gives you the reason to pick against him, right? And it's not just LeBron. You got Anthony Davis, you got Marc Gasol, you have, you're running the coach back there with Frank Vogel. So you've got a lot of very important pieces coming back to, and Jared Goff is doing a good job escaping until he got sacked.
Big sack for a 3rd and 21 for the Rams.
We've got a 3rd and Walla Walla. So
I've been past Walla Walla.
I think out of the East, right? I think it's very interesting, and you've got the Brooklyn and Milwaukee situation to follow all year long, because I think Brooklyn is going to be very interesting to watch, not just in terms of the player impact on the court, but also just their personalities meshing. As KD and Kyrie are two very different cats. So those are a few thoughts that I have about the NBA, and maybe a little thoughts on the Clippers there, but I'll leave that to you.
I really think, of course, the interesting point with the Clippers is the question mark is everything is, what are the Clippers going to be like now that Doc Rivers is gone? And Doc Rivers is already starting to cause a little bit of controversy and blow up some smoke while he's in Philadelphia. So is Doc Rivers leaving the Clippers make them better or worse? We said earlier the big thing this year is who owns a Staples Center, because now that battle is even bigger. I'm really watching the Milwaukee Bucks this year. It seems that the Milwaukee front office got a better understanding in the bubble of who Giannis is as a player, and does he meet his brother when they go to the finals and his brother is on the Lakers. If I have a preseason favorite, I too am going with the Los Angeles Lakers. They made a title run, and they shed two very well talented names, even as bench players in Rajon Rondo and in Dwight Howard, and they went, and they still are #1 favorites. So shout out to
they got
LA.
they got rid of Howard, but they did pick up Marc Gasol, which is no small. Marc Gasol in ball,
and that's what kind of makes the Lakers the Lakers. Kind of reminds me this Christmas with them playing of when the Lakers used to play on Christmas when I was a kid and Kobe was really in his prime. It's just what you get excited about. So be a good basketball season. As we get into our second quarter, we're going to wrap up and we're going to talk about Christmas Day basketball. Todd Gurley with a huge run inside the 5 for Connor. So Christmas Day, I have two notable games I want to say that if you're going to watch something, you need to watch Miami play New Orleans. Heat Pelicans. The Heat really show that they have kind of a team system going on. They have a lot of pieces in place. They didn't lose too many crazy things over the offseason. And then Zion Williams kind of emerged as a superstar last year. So that's a good, I believe it's a noon tip-off for Christmas. Let you get in there, let you watch that game. Drop that. Oh, almost picked by Clowney in the end zone. Let you watch that game, let you enjoy that basketball. I also think the other interesting game is going to be Bucks Warriors. Knowing that out of the last 3 wins, the Bucks have won 2. But Bucks Warriors should be big because they loaded up in the draft a little bit, did a lot of off-season moves. Steph Curry's healthier. They didn't have a good season last year, so how did they reload? So that's what I'm watching on Christmas. Touchdown, Todd Gurley. Connor takes the lead. That's a great segue into Connor. What are you going to watch on Christmas Day?
I think the #1 game out of the big slate of games, as always, for those of you who know my take, I think it's awesome that the NBA has owned that day of Christmas. I think the most interesting game is going to be Nets-Celtics because, as I mentioned before, I think The bigger question marks are going to be all the impacts and things happening in the Eastern Conference. So, is Kyrie going to continue his court cleansings, especially in the regular season, now that he's already cleansed the TD Garden? What's going to happen with Jason Tatum? Is his stardom going to really go to the next level? So I think that it's a big, interesting conversation. My apologies
Connor,
that we
is
have
your
an
house
alarm
on
going off.
fire?
Our house is not on fire, although our alarm just went off, though.
There is
So
someone in the house. Do
there
you
is
need
somebody in the
assistance?
house.
Do you need me
But
out
that,
there?
but that is those are my thoughts as we wrap up our first quarter topic and head into the second quarter.
Well, those are good thoughts. I think you're right. We'll see. What are those two storylines? I think the interesting other thing with Boston is, did Brad Stevens do too many moves this offseason, and is it going to catch up to him?